perfect. Like they look like they're
Look, so some of you know me as an artist and some of you know me as a CEO. But what both of you know is I made a lot of money being a creative. And tomorrow I'm partnering with NJ Pack and we're hosting an event that
Go by the name Broadway Blake. I'm the CEO and founder of Vibes in the City. Vibes in the City is a platform that provides opportunities for up-and-coming creatives. We've curated and produced over 200 shows, showcased over 1,000 artists. Most of the artists right here, Newark, New Jersey. But we showcased artists from all across the world. California, Florida, Texas, Ohio, Brazil.
She saw that she could be an inspiration to all people.
Beyonce has inspired me to just keep pushing and going.
The possibilities are unlimited. So that she and they and we could see possibilities too.
Hi everyone, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to the Creators Room. This is a panel all about artist development. I'm Danielle Waters, Senior Manager of Arts Education Programming and Performances, and I'll be your moderator for this panel. The Creators Room is an intimate conversation about the journey of creators working behind the scenes in the arts. Most of all, the importance of protecting your artistry and providing you tangible resources you can use to jumpstart or reignite your careers. On tonight's panel, we have Basha Regine. She is a self proclaimed transformational speaker, model, artist, teaching artist, creative coach, and artist director from Newark, New Jersey. Shifting the way Afrofuturism is seen and utilized in academia, fashion and film, and art through her fresh perspective and passion. Welcome, Basha, to the virtual stage.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
Yeah,
happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here as well. Next up is Broadway Blake. Blake is a Newark hip hop artist, turned curator and founder of one of Newark's leading open mic nights called Vibes in the City. Vibes in the City is a platform that provides performance opportunities to up and coming creatives. Since launching in 2016, Vibes in the City has produced over 200 shows and showcasing over 1,000 artists from all over the US. Blake, come to the virtual stage.
What's going on? What's going on? Thank you so much for having me. Um,
Yes,
I know it's going to be a lot of, a lot of information here today. So I'm
I
really,
know.
really looking forward to it.
Yes, and I hope everyone has their pen and pads with them. And speaking of how important performing is as an artist, I invited Katie Kilgallen, Associate Director of Creative at BMI in New York City. Katie is responsible for amazing events to bring BMI affiliates together, like monthly BMI 101 workshops, monthly BMI acoustic lounge showcases, various songwriting camps, and more. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you, everybody, for having me. It's great to be here.
Yes. And next we have Joshua Pierce, CEO of the Diversity Org and musician. Joshua does it all from learning social media algorithms to learning how to monetize on YouTube. And he's going to school us a little bit on how to monetize on Spotify. Please welcome Joshua to the conversation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me at this event. It's going to be amazing. Shout out to NJ Pack for making this happen. And I don't know if there's like a chat feature in here, but I want to know if there's any global doers in the building. We only sent this to priority global doers. So just put hashtag global doers in the chat or some eagles in the chat. You know what it is. But yeah, this is going to be very productive, very lit. I see a few. I see Bashira. I see Dustin. Okay, they're coming in. Global Doers season. Let's.
Yes. Joshua brought the creators, the global doers, I should say. All right. Thank you, panelists, for wanting to discuss how you see artist development currently. I'm anxious for all of our attendees to get to know you. Let's discuss your journey to where you are in your careers now. with everything being completely digital or even virtual, what is artist development to you, and what is your journey in music? Let's start with Basha.
So I really appreciate you asking that question because it's obviously been a journey. You know, this whole year has been a journey. It definitely looks like being consistent, right? Consistency is king. Like you have to be consistent with whatever you want to do and just really being on it. I'm very much about organization. So I schedule a lot of my content. It's more so about planning, making sure you have a great vision that you really want people to see, really understanding and mapping that out. And once you map it out, you just plan it, fill up your calendar, make great content. And once you have that planned, you can go on to the next month, because once you make the content, it's just about putting it out there and about planning those days to drop it. And that's something that is the fun part. I feel for me is the planning part, and not getting in your head too much about comments, like what to put under the captions, really just posting something that's on your mind. People want to get to know you as an artist, so I find it so important to be authentic. If you don't feel like putting a comment underneath whatever you're putting on Instagram, I don't know what to say under this caption, so y'all caption it. It's something that I love to like put underneath a lot of my content. So also just on YouTube, having that rawness is so important, just really being real with people, like where you're at in the stage of your life. So as a YouTuber, it's been such a great journey to see who's been following me and then coming through to my podcast and like really holding it down. Like, it's just been a family. So really creating that family vibe and letting them see the creative process from beginning to end.
Yeah, anyone else care to chime in? Katie?
I love that, Basha. I think the one thing that you said that really stood out to me was that authenticity is so key. Like, I love that on your YouTube and on your podcast, you're just real and honest, and it's 100% you, and it's not any of that. Like, sometimes you can see on Instagram, it's so curated and it's not real life. I think that's what people really gravitate towards, especially right now when we're all at home. I think it's just, we look for that genuine connection with people. And so many artists this year especially have had to learn how to promote themselves from home and do that in a way without live shows, without interviews, without meet and greets. And it's really a testament to you as a creator that you're able to stay true to yourself and then connect with your fans in that way too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a journey, definitely, to get it all right and together. I feel like that connection that you have, it comes through like, your artistry already. And so like, really, how do artists do that without overdoing it? You know what I mean? Because you already sharing your music, that's a part of you. And now it's like, how do I bring them into another part of my life that's like, I don't even do that. Like, what do I do? So how do you do that? I think that's the main thing I've been really, just figuring out. And it's just like posting soon as I wake up, and they're just like, oh, she don't look like that all the time.
Right, exactly. And I think that's a good point. It's like you're testing it. You're just going with the flow. You're not like, it's not so strategic, although it should be, but it's like really organic, I think. Joshua, do you have any insight on like your journey now and what is artist development to you?
Yeah, sure. So definitely want to shout out again all the global doers in the building. We love you guys. But as far as artist development right now, and being a creative, whether it's a music artist, whether any different type of art, or you're an influencer, I feel like social media has made things significantly easier for not only for you to cultivate an audience, but be able to measure how well you're doing. So when you think about, like, for example, when I think about social media, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, like, I want to, like Basha said, I want to be my authentic self, because you never want to be a shell of yourself. You never want to like imitate what you think is just popular, and then now you're like a slave to that, because that's not really who you authentically are. So being authentic to yourself is 100% important, but also being smart and entrepreneurial is important as well, in understanding like what actually works. So for me, like, I like to just work all day. I like to just sit on my computer, whether it's record music, whether it's host events, I like to chill. But if my stories, for example, on social media was only that, I wouldn't be really cultivating an audience or really being able to be relatable or create exciting content, right? So
Mhm.
what you want to look at, and the great thing about social media and marketing now opposed to what happened historically, like if you wanted to advertise, whether it's your business, whether it's your album, like it would be on like billboards, on like, the highway, but you would never know how many people actually saw that and how many people actually translated into buying your album or coming to your show. The great thing about social media is you could post something and you'll know this got more views or this got more likes. So like the great thing about that is an artist right now, you can look at your social media or you can look at artists that you're influenced by and you can see what works and what doesn't work. If this doesn't get as much likes, maybe I should stop posting something like this. Even if I like it a lot, obviously my audience and what I'm cultivating is not resonating with it. So as a creator, it's the greatest time, I think, with social media, because you can have all that data that you didn't have before. So yeah, that in this time in social media, that's something really to think about as an entrepreneur and a creator.
Yeah, exactly. And Blake, how did you transition from musician to, curator of an event? That's really interesting to me.
Well, of course, like being an artist is just like is it's always like been something that I love. Like, hip hop is what I love. It's like what I'm passionate about. So early on, I like as I developed my skill, I always felt like as I got better, I felt like I can compete with like top tier artists. But it always came back to the essence of why I fell in love with hip hop and why I fell in love with music, and that's like just being a fan and especially being a fan of local music, being a fan of local music scenes. I used to always get like Double XL, Ozone Magazine, Source Magazine, and like just to see what they was doing in Oakland, what they was doing in Houston, what they was doing in Louisiana. Like I used to just like read a bunch of articles on Boosie and Webby and Mac Dre and all these artists. So it's kind of funny because a mentor of mine always he would always tell me, you're gonna always love making music. Like you're never gonna lose the passion for that, because that's what you love. But he used to always tell me, you're gonna really, really find your purpose being behind the scenes
Right.
and just like producing whatever you can produce for artists that's on the come up. And I didn't know what he meant by that. So it's like, because I'm like, nah, I could compete. I can compete with the artists. I can compete with the top artists. I feel that way. But he like, yeah, like, and he believed in me too. He believed in my talent, but he always said, like, you like, trust me, your real passion and purpose is gonna come with you being behind the scenes, because everybody like whoever follows me, they know what well documented of saying how I used to just study Russell Simmons, study Barry Gordy, the whole Motown dynamic, um Bad Boy, like the whole Def Jam culture. So
Right.
I can see like where he would get that concept from, and it's kind of crazy. Like after many years of being an artist, and I'm still an artist. I still create music, but it's like this is what I know I'm supposed to be doing. Vibes in the City is what I like. I can wake up and like just do it naturally, be on the computer or just sending out emails, just reaching out to artists, trying to get artists on playlists, trying to look for information for artists, like on how to get their business right. I can do that for 16, 17 hours a day and just get up and do it the next day. Like, all right, okay, well, I'm here for the long run. So long as I can help in any way of bringing up the next crop of talent, it's still like the same reward for me. It's still the same reward for me.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. And speaking of, up and coming artists, it's really important to have performing rights society. So Katie, who is from BMI, can let us know more about what is BMI and what is performing rights.
100%. I just love, just to piggyback off what Blake was saying too, providing opportunities for up and coming songwriters, up and coming artists, just a platform to perform and grow. is so important. And that's really what the creative team at BMI is there for. We're kind of the middlemen between the businesses and organizations that play music. So that could be restaurants, gyms, you know, if you're listening to music on Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, all those places, you're entitled to, when your songs are being played, you're entitled to get paid for those songs. And that's where BMI comes in, because it's just impossible for one songwriter to go to every place that their music is being played and say, hey, I know that you're playing my stuff. How much can I invoice you for? It would take forever. It's like just an impossible job. So BMI plays the role where we go to these businesses and these organizations and anywhere that uses music. I mean, music is everywhere. And we negotiate license fees with them. They pay us a licensing fee. We collect it and then distribute it all back out to our affiliates. So when you're signed up with BMI and you're putting music out there and it's getting played, if you're getting synced into TV shows, video games, commercials, if your music is being used really anywhere, BMI is the one that's saying, okay, we're tracking the airplay of the song and making sure you're getting paid for it. So that's what we do as a whole, like overall. But on my job specifically on the creative team, my job is to reach out to up and coming songwriters, educate them on what BMI is, what BMI is not. A lot of the time people think we're a label or a publisher or a copyright organization, and we're not any of that stuff. We don't own your music. We just license that music for you on your behalf. So you're not selling your music to us or giving away your rights. We're just making sure and advocating for the songwriter that they're getting paid fairly when their songs are played. So on the creative side, it's really my job to meet young, talented, upcoming artists, writers, and help them get to the next point in their career, whatever their goals are. If they want to be more behind the scenes, kind of like Blake said, producing and doing things for other artists, or if they want to be a performing artist themselves, it really, everybody has different goals. And those goals can change over time too, just depending on what we introduce them to, whether we're putting them in co-writing sessions, or like Danielle mentioned before COVID, we had acoustic lounge showcases every month in the city where we'd invite artists to come and play, and people from labels, publishing companies, other songwriters, they would all come out and support and watch them play, and it would turn into a networking event after. So I think at the end of the day, a good word to describe us is connectors. We just want to connect people, create opportunities to collaborate, make a space for creators to put their art out there and support it and advocate it in every way that we can. So that's what we do.
And that's a great definition of what BMI is. So what is, is ASCAP a competition to you guys, or what is ASCAP to you?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So BMI is not the only PRO that exists in the US. You have a choice of who you want to sign up with. There's BMI, ASCAP. There's two other PROs, CSAC and GMR. There's a lot of acronyms in our world.
Yeah.
But essentially at the end of the day, we all do the same thing. We're all responsible for making sure that our songwriters are paid. But BMI and ASCAP, I would say, are the most similar in terms of our membership size is really similar. We both represent around the same number of songwriters and publishers. And we also both operate on a nonprofit making basis. So we're not in it to make money. It doesn't, you know what I mean? We're just concerned that all of the performance royalties are sent back out to our songwriters. CSAC and GMR, on the other hand, they both operate on a for-profit making basis, and it's not an open enrollment. Like at BMI and ASCAP, you can just go to the website and sign up, say, hi, I want to join as a songwriter. But at CSAC and GMR, they reach out to you to ask you to join. And they are like for-profit, like I said, not a nonprofit like BMI and ASCAP are. So really at the end of the day though, Danielle, to answer your question, it's about relationships. I think the most important thing in the music business is putting yourself out there and making those relationships and networking in this way, and attending amazing events like this that NJ Pack puts on, where you can connect with other creators and get advice. And it really just matters who's going to pick up the phone at the end of the day and help you out if you have a question or just need help with your craft.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you for that. And a lot of people that know me personally know that I vouch for BMI because I used to work there. I was an intern there, and then from intern, from intern, I made my way to a part-time job there. So, you know, as a musician, it's really important to have a PRO for performances. So like similar to if they did an open mic like Vibes in the City, having a PRO to, you know, register your songs and sign up your set list and get paid for it is really important. And I know BMI has that. And Joshua, you want to say something?
Yeah, totally. Like Katie, so much great stuff about BMI. And for any students who aren't clear completely, like she said, BMI literally is just tracking where your music is getting played globally. So if like someone's playing your song in Texas right now at a show, they know and they make sure that you get paid, right? And it's really important for artists to get paid during this time. And like I'm sure Katie may share some artists that are on BMI, but I know like Lady Gaga is on BMI. I know, I think Michael Jackson was on BMI. I'm on BMI.
Yeah.
You see how I just threw my name next to Michael Jackson? But like Rihanna's on BMI, Blueface. So like a lot of big artists, like, and again, there's multiple companies that do what BMI does. But if you are an artist and you make music, it's important that you sign to one of these organizations so that they can track where your music's getting played so that you can get paid.
Joshua, I'm so impressed how many names you just rattled off that you knew were BMI affiliates. That you like do my job better than I did. That was so impressive. I love that.
And also, I think Drake is on BMI, Cash Money.
He used to, I think Drake used to be BMI. He left to go to, he sold his catalog to GMR. Actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I know. I know. Lots of moves. I mean, it's possible to move around too, you know, off at ASCAP and they switch over to BMI. But yeah, everyone Joshua just named is BMI. And most importantly, Joshua Pierce is BMI. So that's all you.
And that's a good point that it's okay to switch. So like, I know Blake is ASCAP and I know Basha's ASCAP. I think Basha wants to make the switch.
At the moment. But, I mean, it sounds tempting. It sounds very tempting.
We still love our ASCAP peeps too.
Yeah. So Blake, you know, as a up and coming musician, what was your experience with learning about PROs?
Well, early on, like I think I signed up to ASCAP so long ago that I think it was free at the time. Like I think, or it was like very low cost. But a good friend of mine, longtime friend and artist named Lava, he was the one who kind of put me up on it. Like, if you want to be an artist and you want to take your career serious, like this is like one of the first things, if not the first thing, outside of the music, of course, like you got to take care of, like, because how you gonna get paid from your music if nobody like, you know, like you don't even know where to get paid from. So as soon as he told me that, immediately I signed up, and I kind of like went to ASCAP because you didn't really hear artists or rappers talk about like they PROs at the time, but it was this one Jadakiss song, and he said y'all gonna give me my ASCAP or get your cap. I said, okay, all right, well, I'm signing up with ASCAP. That's it. Right? That's what it is then. And that's literally what helped me make my decision of which PRO I was going to sign to. Because that's the first one that I heard of, and Jadakiss was like, you know, he was the guy, one of the guys that we really looked up to as artists. So I was like, okay, well, if Kiss is on ASCAP, then I don't even care who else on ASCAP. Then I know that's where I need to be. I don't need to know any other company. That's what I'm signing to. But you know, just since then, it has been a journey of just like really like learning on how many outlets you can get paid from. And I think even when we first signed, like when I first signed up to ASCAP, we did go under the assumption of that this is our publisher. Oh, we own 100% of our publishing. So you know, because you know that's always a big thing in music, and especially in hip hop. Everybody talks about owning their masters and owning their publishing. So it was like, okay, well we got the publishing taken care of, got the music out. What's up? Where the checks at? Where the checks? And then I'm going, you know, I go and check my works and all that, and I'm like, oh, hey, wait, I ain't getting much. Where the quarterly checks at? So, but now it's like I've learned so much as far as like sync licensing and just getting placements and all that. And it's like I always find myself in a rabbit hole of just information on how to like maximize your publishing and your royalties and just using your PROs to your advantage. So
right, that's a
still
good
learning,
point.
still trying to give as much information to other artists that don't have to like bump their heads as many times as we bumped our heads when they come up. You know, I want to help people save the time that we wasted on trying to learn it on our like just try to learn it on our own. Not that you shouldn't learn it on your own, but of course you got to go to your own sources. But like you know, like here, like we here, and Katie got a
Exactly.
bunch
That's
of
the
the
point of the
information.
creators room is
Guys got
to
a bunch of the
have
information on
resources.
that. So you know, just trying
I
to
love
help
that, Blake. I love that you're like, I love that you're reaching back and helping people who are just starting out avoid some of the pitfalls that you experienced when you were growing up as an artist too, because that's huge. It just, it means I think more than you even know, because there are so many artists and songwriters who I meet early on, and it really is where you end up. I think PRO wise, it just depends on like who you get in touch with first.
Yeah.
Because it genuinely we do the same thing. You know what I mean? Our jobs are the same at the end of the day. I think as far as just like where you end up, it's you either Google it and you're just like, who my favorite artists are BMI, or my favorite artists are ASCAP. So I'll do that. But it does like I meet so many writers who are just starting out and they are so eager to learn. And that's I think the most important thing to take away from anything, being an artist or being a writer or an entrepreneur, is just being willing to fail and being willing to learn. And music industry is constantly changing. You know what I mean? It's like there are a lot of outdated rules and a lot of outdated ways that it is. But I think it's constantly, I learn new things every single day. I think I know everything. And then I wake up and go to work and I'm like, I don't know anything.
Yeah,
nothing. So
and it takes years for things to
always
be updated with the decrees and all of that stuff that you know
totally.
BMI does, and also the different platforms that we use. So I know Basha does a lot of commercials. So I'm not sure, Basha, have you ever had your music placed on a commercial that you were actually in? Is that like double checks?
That would be double checks, but so what happened was with the Adidas commercial, it was supposed to be, but they were still trying to sort out if they could like incorporate that with me being signed to an agency, as well as like not having that connection with like a talent agent or something, so that it could actually be something that they put through like the books as like, oh, well, this was something that we actually employed like someone who was non-union or union to do this job, to bring this music in, because that's a whole different like thing. It's like I'm also acting, I'm dancing, and I'm a talent, and then I'm also bringing in the music. So what happens is like they look for like loopholes to get their tax breaks. And so if there's no loophole, they're like, we're gonna come back to you on that one. So like that little, and I get it. So, and that's just like that's the performative, like, you know, kind of aspect of things when you're in the entertainment industry. But what I will say is that my song was featured on a playlist by Ilham Omar, the politician. And that was really amazing to be on that playlist. This happened in March for International Women's Day. It was my first, I literally blew up everyone's Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a certified Spotify artist. Like, and I was just blowing up everyone's like thing. I made a YouTube video about it, and it was just amazing. Because, you know, from a Muslim woman's perspective as a music artist, it's like, what? Like, you're making music, and then to be on the politician's like playlist, you know, for Women's International Day was like phenomenal. And the track is called Knowledge, and it's just about telling queens to go get their knowledge. Like, go get your knowledge, queen. You got this. And so for her to like that song, it shows me the quality of my music and the message that I'm sending out. And like, you know, one day, you know, hopefully we get up in that White House, you know, I'm down to perform for the inauguration, you know, hit me up, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's just all about like the authenticity as well. Like, you know, if I'm talking to people like right now, the reason why I was saying, oh, BMI might be a good choice for me. And as an artist, you have to make this perspective kind of choice, is like, you have to be like, okay, yeah, you know what? I know somebody. Like, I'm talking to Katie, and I'm like, Katie seems very cool. I know you. Like, I'm like, all right, so I don't know nobody at ASCAP. So the thing is, the relationships are important, right? As an artist, maintaining them, because you can know somebody as an artist and you're like, yeah, I know them. 5 years down the line, you'd be like, oh yeah, I used to know them, because you didn't maintain the relationship. So relationships are really important to maintain, because someone can call me right now and be like, yo, so that track Knowledge, like, you're trying to have it on like right now it's on a grownish playlist, like to be soon to be on a new season. So there's just a lot of things you have to kind of like sit, wait, keep pushing. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? How's my track going? Like, keep in contact. You got to be consistent. Like I was saying, like consistency, keep showing up, popping up. Where you at? Oh, I'm coming to the next BMI showcase. Like Katie's going to book me for that. So, I'm just very like keen on that consistency and relationships. I have people that I call my family from Def Jam, because I did a lot of work there. I did a lot of like, intern work. Came in as somebody who's like, oh, now we need her expertise. Like she ain't doing the free stuff no more. I was like, nah, I need more. Like, and so as a creative, you come in, they're like, so we need your perspective on branding, right? Because branding is important for some artists, and some artists, they come out, they don't know how to brand themselves. And so like having that kind of perspective really helped a lot of artists at Def Jam, which I can't talk about because I signed NDAs. But it's very important to have those types of like relationships with people that just kind of like, they respect your hustle and they see you come up from the grind, and then they're like, oh, you out here doing things. Actually, like, how much do you charge? I'm like, oh, here's an invoice.
Exactly.
So,
here's my price list.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
Tasha's my icon. She's my icon.
Super dope.
Definitely, because Basha is on all of like different mediums. And I know Joshua is familiar with working with different brands and leveraging, from Diversity.org. How have you developed those relationships with, HBO, Warner Media? Those are big companies. How did you even begin to even tap into that?
For sure. And for all the students, definitely, this is such a great panel already, hearing a lot of great insight from Katie, Blake, and Basha. Can we just put W's in the chat for the students? Because you're hearing from some winners right now. So W's in the chat, spam W's, let's go. So as far as there's a lot of W's. Let's go. I see Susan, Aileen, yes, Tyrell. All right, so
Bennett is one of our NJPAC students.
Sebastian, Luna, yes, W's. Okay, so as far as partnering with a lot of major multi-billion-dollar companies, it really has to do with alignment. A lot of people go into partnering with companies, or they go into any kind of business, whether you're even trying to work for a company. And I talk to students about this all the time. They go into companies always thinking about what they need and what they want, right? So most of the amateur entrepreneur or the amateur business person, if they'll reach out to HBO, they'll say, all right, I'm starting this, and this is what it's going to do, for me. And like, this is going to be a major moment. And, they only focus on themselves. But the best entrepreneurs understand what the client wants and how to align your needs with the clients to be able to do something collectively together. So when I think about companies like HBO, we work with, I'm going to give a little secret to all the global doers and everybody who's here right now. We're now going into partnership with Viacom. So that's MTV, that's BET, nice. VH1, Paramount Pictures, right? So yeah, expect that. That's coming next month. We're having an event with them next month. But a lot of amateur entrepreneurs, they'll go to companies like that and talk about what they want. What you want to do is, when we reach out to HBO or MTV and all the other companies, we understand, okay, what are you trying to accomplish, right? A lot of these companies, you'll see like on social media, they'll say, hey, we're giving $30 billion out to, BLM or Stop Asian Hate. Like they'll come out with these big announcements. And so what we do as a diversity organization, we go to some of these companies and we're like, okay, you say you want to make a difference. We'll look at their public reports and figure out, how do they want to make a difference? Do they want to connect with the youth? Do they want to connect with minorities? Like, what are they trying to accomplish, right? And then we tell them, all right, we're already accomplishing this. Let's work together to be able to help our collective goals succeed. So if you're an artist or you're a creative or you're an entrepreneur, it's important. If you want to be able to have the most successful partnerships, don't just care about what you want and what you need. Care about what the partner wants and what the partner needs as well.
Yes, I love that. And sorry, I have a question in the chat. There's a few of them, so I do want to get to the chat box. I mean, to the Q&A. Before we go any further.
Can I just add to what Joshua said? Because I find that to be so important. Like what you said, like the gyms, and it's so simple, but we forget. So like, that's something to write down. Just remember that. Like, even when I started making music, I was like, what will empower people? What will make people feel good? Like, I never made a song about my life ever. And like, I'm starting to do that transition as an artist, because I make what you call selfless music. Like, I don't make music that's geared towards like, Basha, and you need to listen to my story. I find artists who do that to be very empowering as well, because they know like their story will help them. But as an artist, I was like, nah, I want to make music that's gonna make women be like, yo, I'm a queen. Like, what you mean? You could never in your life. Okay. So that was my whole goal. And that's when I came in. Someone branded me. Someone was like, what's your message? What are you gonna tell people?
Right.
If I was gonna ask you, what is your music in one sentence, what would it be right now? Put it in the chat. What would it be? Right? What would be your music message in one sentence? And if you can't tell me that, I'm not listening. Because what you gonna say? Oh, well, track one is like, nah, I don't want to hear it. It's too long. People have bite size. That's one thing that I learned. People consume information in bite-sized chunks. So you have to make it just straightforward. So that's something that I really appreciate you saying, Joshua, because it is all about the client. And my clientele are my family, the people who listen to my music, the people who listen and perceive me as an artist or want to get to know me. And so I'm thinking, like, what do they want to hear? Because what do I want to hear when I'm like feeling crusty and I don't want to wake up and get out the bed? Like, what do I want to hear? So I love that you said that, and I just really appreciate that, like, insight on the reminder, because it's necessary.
I love that, Basha. That was so good. So I just had to say, because you think about it, if you think about all your favorite artists, you could probably sum up their music in one word, or how it makes you feel in one word. So having identity for yourself as an artist, as a songwriter, it's just going to make you stand out even more.
Yeah, and that also goes hand in hand with how playlists are created. It's like a mood playlist. Like, what kind of, like, how does your music, what kind of mood is your sound? Let's talk about music curated playlists. Katie, I know that BMI does playlists. Is that to help get the word out about BMI affiliates? Is it all BMI affiliates for that playlist?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a bunch of different playlists on the BMI Spotify, and the one that the pop team works on, which is my job in creative, we kind of are separated out by genres because BMI has offices all over the US. We're in LA, Atlanta, Nashville, Puerto Rico. We just opened an office in Austin, Texas. So we all have different playlists kind of based on, all right, this is an indie playlist. This is a dance EDM playlist. This is our R&B hip hop playlist. This is the pop playlist that's curated by the team, the creative team that handles that genre. And even though there's really no such thing as genre anymore, like if you listen to the pop playlist that we put together, it's everything. It's a mix of everything, because what is pop except it's popular music? It's what people are listening to right now. It's what's going on in the moment. So we have a Music Monday playlist that updates with new music from BMI affiliates every Monday. And that's curated by people. You know, a lot of playlists these days are like algorithmic, where they'll just kind of like fit into one mood or genre or moment. But we really listen to all of the submissions that we get for Music Monday. And a lot of the time it's to gas up our writers that we know have been working really hard to like get a release out and give that extra promotion. And it is, like Danielle, you said, it's so important right now in this day and age where digital marketing is so key. And anything that BMI can do to help push a song or just give it that extra promotion that it needs, we want to do that. We shout it out on our social media page. If you look at our Instagram, we do like a Music Monday roundup every week where we highlight some of the affiliates that are on there and just shout them out in the comments and really just try to help push things along, where right now, unfortunately, the live opportunities aren't really a thing. You know, doing things that artists would normally do has kind of been stripped away during COVID. So this playlist has been a real help for a lot of people who are just trying to put music out and get that extra promotion from us too.
Mm-hmm. And Joshua, how do you, I know you're like an expert of curated playlists, or you have tips that could help students or anybody or any of our attendees to help them with getting on playlists.
Yes, for sure. So as far as tips for like playlists, right? So what's important to know, just to like set the context for everybody who's here, who's like our music creators. Some people literally may not even know like how playlists usually go. So on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Tidal, there are playlists with music on it, and they're either created by like creatives themselves, like influencers. They can be created by music labels. They can be created by organization PROs like BMI. So there's like all these different like communities or companies or influencers or people who create playlists. So as an artist, why it's important for you to be on a playlist is because playlists are like the new radio. So radio is like the thing where you would hear the new music that you get, but often I can probably think like let's take a vote right now. How do you guys discover music? Do you discover it on the internet or do you discover it on the radio? When you hear a new song, type in the chat radio or internet. Where do you usually hear new music? Some people both. That's true too. Internet, a lot of internet, right? So a lot of internet, right? So the playlists are one of the major ways that songs are being discovered. In the chat, can you type in the chat yes, or have you been able to discover music on playlists? Say yes, or have you discovered music on, if you've never discovered a song on a playlist, say no. So have you discovered a song on a playlist? Yes, okay, yes. All right, so everybody, 100% of people discovered a song on a playlist, right? So with that, if you're an artist, right, it's important for you to think about like, how can I get my music on these playlists? Because 100% of the people in this room right now, they found music on a playlist. So I should prioritize that, right? And especially if you're an independent artist, right? Which is, I think this is the best time to be an independent artist because you can make as much money as possible because the internet is wide open. So, you know, like you can literally, what you could do, if you want to go on Spotify, let's use Spotify as an example. Let's say you're an artist, you want more streams on your music. You want it to be discovered by the 100% of people who said that they discovered music through playlists right here on this call. On the Spotify like platform, you can see it on your computer. If you have a computer, I mean, you should have a computer if you're on this call, but you may have a phone, but you get it. All right, so you go on Spotify on your computer and you type in, let's say, hip hop. It could be, if you're into sad music, it could be sad vibes or whatever. Type in certain like keywords in Spotify. And then when you're in Spotify, they're going to have like a description. And sometimes in that description, they'll say like, hey, here's my email where you could submit your music, or here's my Instagram where you could submit your music. So if you're an artist, what I would do, and when I'm in heavy artist mode, when I'm putting out a lot of music and I'm not doing as much corporate stuff, which seems like never because corporate stuff's been crazy. But like when I'm in heavy artist mode and I'm about to release a single, I'll reach out independently, no manager. I reach out to 100 to 200 Spotify playlists, right? And let's say you even get placed in 20 playlists, right? And then that gets you 5,000 streams a day. It was worth it, right? And now that's even if that's 5,000 more people listening to your song per day, or 2,000, or even 200, or even 100 new people listening to your song a day is like a massive growth. So, and then the great thing about Spotify is once you get on those playlists and your music is getting played, your music is also getting you paid because Spotify pays you, right? So for me as an entrepreneur and as an artist, yes, I get money when all these big companies sponsor our organization. I get paid from that for sure. I get paid from YouTube and being able to get revenue from that. I get paid from, you know, different speaking events, and I also get paid from Spotify, right? I get checks every month that I'm able to see in my account coming from streaming services and things of that nature. So really important, if you are an artist or you have a friend who is an artist, use Spotify playlist or playlisting to be able to get more attention. But also, last thing I'm gonna say about this is some of these playlists are fake. So you might see a playlist on there, and some of these people who run these playlists, they will say, hey, pay me $50 to get on my playlist. And then that's where you have to make the decision, if this playlist popular enough for me to pay $50 to put my song on here? Am I going to make that return on investment from the amount of streams that I'm going to get? Or is this a questionable playlist? And some of you may think, why would I pay money to get my music played? You have to realize this is the music business. This is not just.
It used to be called payola.
Right, but that's what it was called. But it's definitely in Spotify. It's happening right now. So if you want the game on how to get your stuff up there and everybody's doing it. Look, we're in the music business. When Drake is releasing an album, his label puts $1 million in advertising. So if you don't even want to spend $50 in advertising your music, you don't expect to be Drake level, Lady Gaga level. They have millions of dollars. Like they used to have $1 million music videos, let alone music marketing, right? So if you want to take artistry seriously, it's important for you to realize the different ways to be able to get exposure to your music, as well as be ready to pay to play so that you can be able to get to the next level. Because at the end of the day, you're competing against all these other people in the industry. So you got to do what it takes.
Exactly. And you have to also invest in yourself. I read in the article, or maybe it was on the news. It was a DoorDash delivery driver. He invested in himself. Who's also a musician. So he printed out some flyers, and on every DoorDash delivery he delivered, he had a Spotify QRL, or whatever you call it. What is it called?
A QR code. I saw that.
Code, yes. And he gained so many Spotify plays off of that. So you have to be creative and you have to invest in yourself, which is really important. And let's get into some questions. So I have Bennett, who is a NJPAC student. Hey, Bennett. And their question is, I have a connection. I create okay. I don't edit my music recordings. I just post them if they're good, or retake it if they aren't. I want to know people's thoughts. How much of a content filter should I aim for?
You go, Joshua. No, you go. We unmuted at the same time.
I'll go after you.
Well, I was just it's so funny, Bennett, that you asked this question, because I was scrolling through TikTok before this panel and I was thinking the same thing. I really do wonder, and I would love to hear like from artist perspectives too, because I am not an artist, not even close, but like I would love to hear what Joshua, Basha, Blake think about this, because I go through TikTok and what's really popular, at least on my For You page, I don't know why, it knows what I like watch, I guess. It's a lot of really edited, like somebody will be singing into the camera and their mic is there, but you can tell it's not a live take. You can tell that the sound is probably from like a pre-recorded version of the song that they did. So I wonder, like, do people like that? Because it seems like that's the new thing to do on TikTok, is if you want to put your music out there, you'll put like snippets of your songs, at least in the pop world. Like artists and writers who are blowing up on TikTok are putting little snippets of their songs where they're singing it, but you can kind of tell it's not actually a live take, because the sound quality is good for this to be recorded on an iPhone. So I don't know. I just wanted to put that idea out there, because I literally was thinking the same thing. I was like, how curated do people like this to be? Because I go towards the authenticity. Like I like seeing real people and real artists, just because that's what I wish I saw growing up. Right. But yeah, I don't know. That didn't really answer your question. I'm sorry. Hopefully Joshua answers it.
It was a great example. Joshua.
I think you should, if you can, invest in like mixing and mastering. If you have the resources to do it, you should definitely do it. But you shouldn't let that stop you from putting out your content. You should like put it out as best as you could put it out, and just if it's great music, I mean, that from what I've learned, or from what I've heard from most music professionals, is make great music and do what you have to do to market it and all that, and just be consistent with building it. So yeah, make it sound as good as you can, but like don't let that stop you from putting out the content. Like Basha was saying, like, look, I'm going to get up and I'm getting a video, you're getting something, you're getting this content. Like of course you want to make it as best as you can, but like don't just be stuck like, oh man, it's not sounding like what's on Hot 97 or Power 105 or Z100. Like, no, do what you can with the resources you have, and
always be you.
Let the fans, just dictate, how much they like it. In my opinion, that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also, I don't, Joshua, you want to jump in? I was waiting for you.
I was gonna say, Blake's point in like just being able to release content is it without feeling like you have to compare it to others to be able to be ready for it to go out is a really good point. It would be great for like if Bennett, because I'm a little confused about the question. Is there any way we can hear Bennett ask it out loud in case he wants to clarify?
Yeah. That's a great point. Bennett, I'll let you talk. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, Bennett's about to get active. Let's hear
on
it,
the
Bennett.
stage, Bennett.
Hi. Yeah. So I was just gonna ask, like, because right at the beginning you were talking about filtering and and all of that, and so I was just because I kind of just record indiscriminately. I kind of just record if I have a song and that's going through my head, and like I'll try to get the highest quality recording I can, but I don't know. I'm just a little apprehensive to try to edit the sound itself. Like I'll try to record at the best quality and stuff like that. But if I can avoid it, I won't modify the sound unless it's specifically what I'm going for. Like if I'm specifically going for some sort of effect.
And are you so I understand that you engineer, at least you track your own vocals. Are you mixing your own vocals or do you have somebody else that does that? Just understanding your creative process a little bit more.
For the most part, I actually play entirely acoustic, so I don't actually have lyrics in any of my songs. That's why I was finding it a little bit hard to try to earlier when I was trying to figure out how I could define what my music's goal is. But I realized that I don't need lyrics for that because the actual sounds do that. That and the kind of jokey song titles. It's just the goal is to get emotion without specifically having words or anything. I just want to, I don't know. I'm being less eloquent with this, but I was just going to say, because I basically just play acoustic. What I normally do is I kind of record using a camera, but we do have like better quality equipment. It's just that I mostly post to YouTube, so I was having some trouble getting that up on YouTube because for some reason YouTube isn't okay with MP3 files. So that was one of the issues there. But now that I've got Ableton, that shouldn't be an issue. Now I just have to break that habit of recording on a less lower quality piece of equipment.
And Bennett, you it sounds like your lane would be music libraries, maybe. I know Katie could probably talk about this a little bit more, where music libraries are like, instrumentals under like that's used for TV or anything.
Yeah, actually, one of the reasons I started posting so much is because I've been DMing for a D&D group for quite a while. So I've been writing the soundtrack for our campaign kind of retroactively. So we'll have a session and then I'll write a song or start jamming around a theme based on that. And so that's where a lot of my music comes from. It comes from just deep emotions or kind of stories. So yeah, that would be really awesome.
That's so dope. Bennett, I would love to, I don't know if we're sharing like our emails at the end, but I'll pop my email. I would love to hear some stuff that you're working on too. And it's really cool that you're on Ableton because I want to know how to use Ableton. So I'm like, that's cool. Bennett can teach me how to produce.
Honestly, I'd like to know how to use Ableton too.
We can learn together. We'll learn both of us together. But yeah, that's cool.
Here's my channel. I just figured I'd send it. So that's like the kind of stuff I've got everything from like an 8-minute kind of mini concert where my dad and I we were just jamming and we were moving around one central theme. And yeah.
Thanks, Bennett. Oh,
I
Basha.
kind
No
of want
problem.
to, yeah, I just kind of want to, because I know content wise, like if you're doing from the creative aspect of it, like just really getting your content out there and being consistent with that. Obviously, you could look at like playlists on YouTube, like that do live playlists, like the lo-fi beats playlist. They do a lot of live playlists, and they have a lot of people in the chat just commenting, creating that community. They might have a title stating like this is what it's about, and then there's like a moving anime that's really dope. So if you know an anime artist, or even if you're able to like connect with somebody, you know, Fiverr is a really great app for you to get like a quick kind of job done for $5 or less or more, maybe a little bit more, that you can get an anime that really fits your mood and your sound, and you can probably post that up on YouTube to have it keep playing, and it's always going to be a live session of your music, and that's you syncing it into the live you know, aspect of YouTube. And then for TikTok, I would definitely say look at whatever's around you, whatever makes you feel like your music. It could be you walking, it could be the sun setting. Film that with a little clip of your music, but you will need a distribution company if you're not distributing it yet. So DistroKid is a really good one. TuneCore is okay. I prefer DistroKid. But if you are using a place to distribute your music, you are able to get those through all of the filters: TikTok, Instagram, Spotify. You're able to get those through Apple Music. That way you can actually get your music into TikTok and people can use it to now make your music go viral. That's the main thing, right? That's the main thing you want. And even if it is just instrumentals, people love that because they get to make their own content to it. They get to do whatever they want to do, vlog videos. That's the main thing that people use. A lot of acoustic stuff too, vlog videos on TikTok. So really just, you know, play around, play with your bio a little bit to find, you know, your sound as an artist. I think that's really what you need to focus on. And then, you know, come into these different mediums and see how you can like really maximize them. Hopefully that helped, Bennett.
Thanks, Basha.
Yeah, for
And
sure. Thank
also,
you.
it's really important that you have your music protected. So, you know, always use a distribution. And I know Bennett is in Canada, so you have to do your research on the proper avenues for that. I think Katie, she put her email in the chat. So, Katie, if you could help Bennett with like the Canadian version of, was it SoCan?
Yeah, it's SoCan for sure. So I can definitely help, Bennett, if you want to hit me up on the side, or if anybody has questions after this or just wants to share music, because that's part of my job. So please do.
Yeah, actually, my other question was how to join BMI, because that just sounds really good, because that was something that has been on my mind recently. Just because I've been getting more music out there, and I've been starting to do higher quality stuff, tech wise and like planning wise, and I've been kind of just using my YouTube channel as a place to experiment with ideas, but I I really do want to try to license my music and actually, I don't know, just keep get farther with it.
For sure. No, it is super important. That's a great question about signing up. I don't know where you went, Bennett, but I hope you're still here and you can hear me. But yeah, essentially it's a little bit different, the process of signing up when you don't live in the US. So, and for Canada, the PRO for the country is SoCan. So internationally, it's a little bit different. In the US, how I said, there's different PROs you could choose from between ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, GMR. But internationally, for example, it's like you get one choice as a PRO, and it's a government like regulated industry rather than kind of in the US where there's competitors. So in Canada, specifically for you, SoCan would be your PRO. So you could sign up with SoCan in Canada. And if you aren't already signed up, I definitely recommend it, because if you're putting things out on YouTube, you're entitled to royalties for that when you're getting plays. So make sure you're signed up, register your music with SoCan. And then if you wanted to amend your agreement with SoCan to say, okay, I'll be SOCAN for the world. SOCAN will track all my music when it's played globally, but I want to be BMI for the US. You can ask SOCAN to do that for you too. So, and if you have questions offline, I know that's kind of like a little bit of a complicated scenario, but it's doable. So if you have questions, follow up and I can walk through it with you, Bennett. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you have control over this. You have control of, since Bennett is in Canada, their PRO is SOCAN, and you could, like Katie was saying, you could either pick, either of the U.S. PROs to represent you for a U.S. The next question we have is, how do I clear a sample?
I could take that one if it's okay. So for clearing samples, it's really important for you to get permission from the publisher of the song before you use it in a song. I know it's like kind of a tedious and boring process to have to do that and research who the publisher is on a song, who are the writers, but it'll save you a lot of trouble down the road. If the song goes viral or blows up, you could be facing legal trouble if you're using samples without permission. So definitely before you use a sample, make sure that you're reaching out to the publishing companies and getting permission. You can go, there's a great resource called Songview, and I'll link it in the chat, but that's the BMI and ASCAP repertoire. It's combined, so you can see all the works that are registered there. And there's publisher contact information on the Songview site. So if you're looking for a way to get in touch with like BMG, for example, Sony ATV, those are just the major publishing companies, but independent pub companies contact info is also listed on there. But the first thing you need to do is obviously look at the song, look at the songwriters that are credited on the song. You can find that on Spotify. It just says show credits. You could figure out who the writers are, and it'll say published by Warner Chappell or Sony ATV. And that's who you need to reach out to and say, hey, I want to sample this song in my music. And then when you're going in to register that song on BMI, once you get permission and the sample's cleared, you just have to include that information, the sample info, when you register the song, so that you're making sure you're crediting the original songwriters of the song. Because using a sample without permission is essentially, it's copyright infringement, like you're stealing somebody else's intellectual property. So it's important to go through the steps. I know not everybody does go through the steps, but sometimes that ends up, their music gets taken down. You can run into, in the worst case scenario, you get sued for copyright infringement. So, and you don't want to deal with that. So definitely get permission first before you put out music that has samples in there.
Yes. And again, that is public knowledge. So if you go to bmi.com and you can see Songview on there as a searchable toolbar. And the next question we have is from Alexander. Was there ever a time that any of you felt as if you wanted to quit music? And if so, how did you overcome it? Hashtag global doers.
I don't think it was ever a time that I wanted to quit, like, because it's really like, it's the blood. It gives me oxygen. It gives me like, it's like either creating music or trying to provide opportunities for other artists is like, it's just like a real, like a passion of mine that I was lucky enough to find early on. So I didn't ever get to a point where I wanted to quit. I did. Sometimes you like, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not sure, but you get to a point where it's like, do I see myself doing this as like making a living from this? Like, cause you can still do it. Like, you can still do it and not have plans on like making a living of it. Like, this is gonna be my livelihood. So I don't think I can ever like quit making music or providing opportunities for artists or other creatives. But it was points where I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, we might have to just do the 9 to 5 and then do the 6 to 12 and then that's it. But but like I haven't ever said I'm gonna quit creating. Like, nah, I haven't got to that point, and I hope and I pray that I don't ever get to that point.
Yeah, shout out Alexander, and Blake, definitely great sharing your perspective on that. So as far as like what I think, as far as like, was there ever a time that any of you felt as if you wanted to quit music, and how did you overcome it? So as far as me as an artist and an entrepreneur, the most important thing for you to think about, whether you want to work a 9 to 5, whether you want to do graphic design for HBO, whether you want to, you play trumpet, whether you want to be a CEO, the most important thing to think about is your why. Why do you want to create music? Why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Why do you want to play trumpet? Your why. That's going to drive you to be able to make your next steps in life. So, for example, and what do I mean by that? So, the reason why I want to make music is because I understand, right? I could do a lot in like corporate, and I could do a lot of other things. I can make money in a lot of different ways. But the reason why I want to make music is because not only do I genuinely love the experience of like creating something from nothing and like, you know, the joy that you get from that, but I also realize like how influential music is, right? I bet here, everybody in the chat, they can name 10 musicians, but they probably can't name 10 current American politicians. Like, beyond like just presidents and like, if I told you to name 10 people in the Supreme Court, we couldn't name that, right? Or, you know, but we can name 10 artists. So music is so influential, right? And when I think of what I'm trying to accomplish professionally in corporate and like with diversity and all that, it's great. And we've been able to accomplish, you know, something that is just astronomical, but being able to have influence from music too, the combination of those things can really influence a young generation. So that's my why. Somebody else's why might be like, hey, I grew up really poor. I want to get my family out. Somebody else's why could be like, you know, hey, like this is the only way I can express myself. If not, you know, it would be detrimental to my emotional and mental state. Everybody has a different why, but once you find out your why, then that's how you'll overcome it, because that's what's going to remind you, okay, I feel like quitting today, but what's my why? That's what I have to do it for. Let me keep going.
Right. I love that. And the next question I have is from Lauren. How can someone interview one of the many artists at BMI?
Oh, that's a good question. So usually when we do, like, BMI has different award shows, and we have a great series that's called Know Them Now on our Instagram too. And it all kind of came about during COVID. Like, we wanted to try to find new ways to shout out our artists and our writers and showcase them. And you can check that out on the YouTube page. And we also there's a great series that just came out with She Is the Music. I don't know if any of you are familiar with She Is the Music, but it was started by Alicia Keys. It's like an incredible organization that's geared towards uplifting female and non-binary producers in the music industry and getting more representation out there. So BMI partnered with She Is the Music to create a series of conversations. It's called She Is the Conversation. And I'll link that in the chat too. So I'm blowing up the chat with all my links. But that's a great opportunity too, if you're looking into just interviewing or thinking about like, what are the questions that I would ask if I was ever put into the shoes of the interviewer of these artists. It's really cool to listen to their stories and their conversations, and they talk about topics from how they got started in music to some of the roadblocks that they might have tried to overcome or had to overcome to get to where they are now. Oh, thanks, Rosa. She beat me to it. But yeah, that is a great place, I think, to start. Just watch a couple of those. We haven't really been able to do a lot of the normal things that we would have done at like Pop Awards, for example, where they have a red carpet and we would interview the artists that walk through to talk about why they're excited to be there, if this is their first Pop Award. They do it at all the award shows, R&B, hip hop, film and TV. But we've really tried to take a lot of those conversations to our Instagram page, our YouTube. So definitely check those out, because it's really cool conversations that happen on there.
That's awesome. And then my next question is from Jen. Do you have any tips of getting started when it comes to networking within the entertainment industry, especially for someone who doesn't have the initial connections?
I would definitely say, Jen, right? Right.
Yes.
Okay. Jen, I would definitely say to just make content. They're going to find you. You can network with people from a standpoint of like right now, this is a network, right? You're here right now, you're networking. So like seeing, you know, Katie's email in the chat, seeing what Joshua's doing, seeing what Danielle's doing, hitting up Blake, you know, like this, you're already here. You're already here. So thinking about who's in the industry versus right now, you always got to think about where you're at in the moment as well. Yes, plan for the future, but don't let opportunities pass you by because you want the next thing. Always see like somebody can help you right now in the space you are in right now. And then just keep, you know, making content and like plan out the type of artist you want to be. For me, it all started from branding. My name becoming a logo, me knowing my purpose as an artist, understanding what that would do to affect my audience. And then I was like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready to put myself out there now. Because when someone asks you about like what you do, whether you want to be an artist, an interviewer, or you want to work like Katie in publishing, or like Danielle, you know, or do what Josh was doing and have a business, and Blake throwing events and producing events, you need to be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And that comes from planning, and that comes from thinking it through. Think about what you're going to say, because if you have an idea, you know, put in the chat, like, what do you want to do? Like, I want to know what you want to do, Jen, because that's what we need to know, so we can get more specific about.
She has a follow-up question, a follow-up to her question. I'm not interested in being an artist, but as as like someone part of the behind the scenes. So I think I could answer that a little bit. So for me, when I worked in music, in the music industry, I started from like an internship. So find your favorite company that you want to be a part of. I'm obsessed with Tidal or something like that. And so I always stalk them to see if anything is available, or like I was obsessed with VH1 and I got an internship at VH1. I was obsessed with reading the credits to albums. So I learned about music publishers that way. And then when my friends like Blake and a few of my friends that's in the audience, they needed help. So I would use my friends as guinea pigs. It's like they didn't really know what they were doing. They just perform it everywhere. So I'm like, well, are you getting paid for that? So that would be my thing, is I found my like favorite company. So that led me to BMI, where they gave me a lot of responsibility as a senior in college, working in estates and performing rights and withheld royalties and things like that. So they see how hungry you are and they give you the responsibility, and then you just work your way up and build those relationships like we've been saying this whole time.
Danielle held the distribution team at BMI down. She held it down.
Held it down. To piggyback off that, like, and don't underestimate the people that you working with. Like Basha said, it's build across. Like that's something that I learned. Build across. That's something that I learned from like Issa Rae. Issa Rae is like one of my like biggest inspirations of the last ever. Like as far as like building her own tribe and just starting from the resources that's right around her. And like, cause like even with somebody like Danielle, like she said, we good friends. We had somebody in a building, but we didn't even know how to maximize that resource. So if you can just get with some creatives that you believe in, or that you see a vision that's pretty consistent. The brand is pretty consistent, like Basha was saying. And, just figure out where you can help, figure out how you can help, and hey, you're probably gonna have to do a lot of free a lot of free work, but it's gonna be worth it, like when you're building across as opposed to how a lot of artists try to send DMs to like Jay-Z and to not that you shouldn't do that. I'm not saying what you should and what you shouldn't do. I just think that when you build across, like when you network across and you have your tribe that's right on us, like, hey, we going through the struggle together, and you're going to see the fruits of your labor. It's going to me, it's going to be worth a lot more and more satisfying once you get to that point, to that sweet spot of like, okay, nah, this is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing, who I'm supposed to be doing it with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and lastly, just to wrap on what everybody's saying. So like literally, this is an opportunity to network. You know that Katie is in BMI, right? And you know what BMI does. You know Blake does events. He's done 200 plus events, right? He has a lot of event and performance experience. Basha is an artist and a creator, from podcasting to YouTube to music to being on commercials. And you know Danielle is the person who created this whole thing. You know, NJ Pack, right? Think about NJ Pack as an organization that she works for, right? They have so many performers, from classical musicians to hip hop artists. Every type of musician goes through that place, right? So if I don't know exactly what you want to do, Jen. I know you're a global doer, so shout out to that. But this is your opportunity to be able to like network with people like them, but also, you know, of course, you know, even with me, like with diversity, you know that we're having events with Warner, we're having events with Viacom, we're having events with VH1, MTV. So in those events, also do the same thing, network, get emails. One thing, when I go and meet with people in like, you know, these kind of settings, I make sure to either get them on social media or get their email before leaving, right? So if you have a question, I would say, hey, you know, can I get your email at the end as well? Like, make sure you leave with that information and then follow up with them. Don't just get the email and sit on it for 2 years and then reach out to them. They're gonna be like, what event? Wait, when did that happen? Pandemic. Right. Right. So not only get their email, but follow up with them the next day, if not the same night. Say, hey, I met you. You know, my name is so-and-so at this event. It was great hearing from you. You know, and whether you want to set up a meeting with them or you just want to be able to stay connected with them and let them know that, just step out your comfort zone, connect with people through these entertainment industry kind of events, and then follow up. That's really what you need to do, is follow up.
Yes,
amen.
Oh, go ahead, Katie.
I was like, amen. No notes. That was everything that had to be covered. Oh, if you have a LinkedIn too, I would always stalk people on LinkedIn and like message them and ask to talk about what they're doing. So use that tool. That was how I got internships. That's how I just got my foot in the door, and be persistent. That's
Yeah, there's a difference between being persistent and being annoying. So always come to the table with like, this is the agenda, this is what I need, or this is what I could provide you, or how I can help you in your company, or, you know, vice versa. Always. And also when you book an event or book a placement or something like that, always leave the situation with a next booking. So always make relationships with whoever. Like if it was a Blake, make sure you say thank you to Blake. When's the next event, or what other events are you doing? Or if you know Basha and you saw Basha at a performance, and you know Basha does commercials and this, that, and the other, or you want to collaborate with Basha, the simple reach out and have that initial relationship is really important. The next question is from Darius. As a student, how do you reach out to these big name companies and start networking? I think we asked that kind of. What would you say is the best age to start networking?
I would just say, to piggyback off what Blake and Joshua and Basha said, is start now. You know, there's no better time than now to get your foot in the door, figure out what you like and don't like. I started to look for what I really wanted to do earlier than I did. I really didn't put enough thought into it until I was in college. I had already picked a major. It was kind of like too late for me to really say, oh, I wish I knew, like I wanted to do music this whole time, but I just didn't realize or put the forethought in to think about my future in that way. So I wish that I had events like this and panels like this that I could have gone to and said, wow, it sounds really cool what Bosch is doing, or wow, I would love to learn more about what Blake's doing, or Josh was doing with Diversity Org. Like, you really do, when you reach out to people and just ask to talk to them, it goes miles beyond, like what you could ever do by just sitting back and waiting for something to fall in your lap. So I didn't want to take, when I graduated from school, I was offered an internship by one of my friends who I had stayed in touch with. And it was just, she was working at a record label, and we happened to be talking about what my plans were as far as jobs go, because I was just sitting at home at that point, like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And she really hooked me up, and she said, hey, I know about this internship opportunity at iHeartRadio. Like, you should go and interview for it. It's a phone interview. Just like, what do you have to lose? And I was a brat. I was like, oh, I don't want, like, I want a full-time job. I graduated. I don't want to intern. Which I wish I could time travel and just be like, take the internship. What's wrong with you? Like, this is such a great opportunity. So, but I went into the phone call. I was like interviewing for this internship, and I went into it completely unprepared, which was so dumb. I was like, oh, I don't know if I really want this. And the more that she started talking, the woman who was interviewing me, I was like, oh my God, I want this job. I want this job. Like, what I'm Googling, I'm like, what is this company? What are we doing? And thank God my friend Chandler encouraged me to go on that interview, because that was my first internship and real world opportunity to be in the music industry. And I learned so much about radio. I worked right with Tom Pullman, who used to be the PD at Z100 and oversees all of the iHeart like tentpole events, from Jingle Ball, iHeart Radio Music Festival, like all of the radio stations. He's the one who gets the final say of what goes on Z100. And it really was like such a cool learning opportunity to see how do labels work? What does artist relationship look like? How do managers get songs on the radio? Like, it was really cool. I figured out that's not really what I wanted to do. I didn't want to stay in radio. It was an amazing opportunity, but I found out from that experience that I want to be kind of like Jen said earlier. I'd rather be behind the scenes working with the writers and the producers, and from the ground up seeing like from when a little baby tiny song grows up into be a big radio hit smash song. Like, that's what's really cool and fulfilling to me. So, but everybody has their thing. Everybody finds what they're passionate about. And kind of like how Blake was talking about before, how he wakes up every day and is just excited to help uplift these talented artists and everybody, you know, just by putting on events and getting the word out there. And it's just, I think you find your way just by trying new things and stepping outside of your comfort zone, kind of like Joshua said, and not being afraid to take opportunities and not being dumb like me and not wanting to take an internship. Take any opportunity. Yeah, take any opportunity you can. That's it.
Wait, speaking on internships, really quick. The same mentor that I spoke about, who said, you know, he felt like I was going just like really find my lane and just being more behind the scenes. Early on in my rap, when as pursuing my rap career, he had an opportunity for me. He had a relationship at So Def for me to go intern. He let me know what I was gonna be doing, passing out flyers. I'm like, no, I'm a rapper. I just want to rap. I don't want to pass out flyers of another rapper. So this is real early on. That was so crazy of me to even think that way. Because now, fast forward, listening to every podcast of successful people that's like behind the scenes, everybody always talk about the importance of just getting in the door. Like, just get in the door and find out how you can help. Like everybody has been saying on this panel, just find out where to get in and just be genuine about your intentions and just figure out how you can help. But like like Katie said, like So Def was one of the most successful labels, but at that time, and still like of all time, like, and you want to rap, and it was one of the labels that I wanted to like get signed to. Like, so it's like, but I'm like, nah, like, why would I go pass out flyers of another rapper? I'm a rapper. I'm a rapper. So like,
yeah, but you have to get out your comfort zone.
Yes.
And fast forward, selfish kind of, you know, see the opportunity. And the same thing happened with me, Katie. Is like a friend of mine told me about the Source magazine. That was my first internship, and then that led to other things. So it always snowballs into other opportunities if you play it right. The next question we have is from K Poetic. What do you guys think about artists who release singles as opposed to albums? What do you guys think is the better approach to establishing a solid fan base?
I mean, I'm an album girl. I love listening to full projects, but I do see the trend nowadays that it's not always like the first thing that an artist will put out is a single to kind of get like excitement or build to an album or full project. But I do think streaming has changed the game into making it a singles driven market. But for me, I don't know. I love the album I have on like repeat recently is Jasmine Sullivan. And I love that it tells a story from start to finish. And that she has like interludes in between each, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's so special. And just as a full body of work, I really appreciate that. But I mean, I don't know. Singles can also tell a story in a way. It just depends. You have to roll it out and be really smart about your marketing plan. Like have it rolled out in a way that you're building excitement up to an album and you're not just dropping a single and then like 11 months later dropping another single, because in between that time it's like, what are you doing, you know? So make it flow.
I think J. Cole just recently did that he announced his album that's coming out next Friday, but then he's like, oh, I have a single or interlude, and he just dropped that just as like a appetizer, which is a great thing.
Yeah, albums is, in my opinion, albums is the only way to get like deep connection like to the artist and to the fan. That's the only way. But I do understand the importance of putting out a single just to kind of gain some traction, just to see, okay, all right, this works. Okay, let me dial in on this. Let me connect with these 10 fans that like continue to stream this one song. Like let me build on top of that 10 fans, as opposed to putting out 12 songs and it's like, we don't know you yet. So it's like, it's kind of hard to get a person to listen to 10 to 12 songs on the first listen. So I do understand the importance of putting out the singles and like you said, building a story with it. But for me, the only way to build like a deep connection with the artist is through like a full project. Like, you know,
you can do that with the EP. So you could do that with like 8 songs.
Yeah, I was gonna elaborate on that too. So, you know, I definitely love a good album, right? A great album is something like from, you know, Channel Orange, Nostalgia, Ultra, Frank Ocean, you know, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Actually, students, can you type in the chat some albums that you really like?
I was actually interning at Def Jam when that dropped.
When Twisted Fantasy dropped?
Yes, it was a moment.
God.
It was
oh my God. Yeah, students, drop in the chat some great albums, because we don't know. We might hear some albums from you guys. You guys might put us on some good artists. So yeah, drop some albums in the chat. But I'm gonna give you my opinion with this. My opinion is, if you have to understand where you are in your artist journey and what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to accomplish getting the most amount of fans, making the most amount of money, and saving the most amount of money while doing this, I would suggest singles. And the reason and I see a lot of great albums in here. I see they got what's his name, Tyler the Creator up in here, D2, awesome, Dua Lipa, J. Cole. So the reason I say it's a singles market is kind of what Broadway Blake was just saying, is that think about people you know, whether it's from your school, from your community, wherever. And that it could be a guy that you actually know. And he says, hey, I got this 12-song album, even an 8-song album. Check it out. We probably all have somebody like that in our life, and we definitely did not check out that album. So none of us did. Everybody here, students, people, panelists, everything, right? But if somebody says, hey, I got this one music video, check it out, right? Your probability of like, all right, I'll give it 30 seconds, right? And if you get past that 30 seconds, like, all right, I might drop a comment. But like, so I want you guys to think about your own human psychology as well as like your own resources. It's better if you have a song that you know is just like a smash, like one of the best songs you ever made. You create the song, you get it mixed properly, right? You create a music video for that. You create artwork for it, and then you push it out, and then you market it for a certain period of time, and then you do that again, right? That's the way in the social media era, because if you put out a whole album, it could be here today and gone tomorrow. Like you put all your energy into that one album, nobody's listening to it, and now what, right? So if I were you, I would definitely do singles and push that single to the hardest that you can possibly push it, until you get a fan base that's so strong and wants your music so much that they're demanding an album. You see the Rihanna effect. People are demanding an album from Rihanna for years. They're like, we don't even want a single queen, we want an album, right? So so if I were you guys, I would definitely post as many singles as possible. And last thing I'm gonna say about this, I don't know if you guys know this artist, his name is Russ. Russ became famous because he posted one song a week. He actually dropped 12 albums. He dropped 12 mixtapes, right? None of them hit. He had 5,000 followers dropping 12 mixtapes. He started putting out a song a week for like, I think he did it for like a year and a half. He went from the 5,000, now he's like 3-4 million followers on Instagram, multi-platinum artist, because it's way easier to get people to listen to one song than it is 12. So yeah, definitely singles from my opinion.
I love that. The next question, we have so many more. Sorry if I skipped over a few. Okay. Can I copyright my music on BMI? I've always been fearful of people stealing my music.
That's a good question. I just want to make it really clear and clarify the role that BMI plays kind of in the music industry as a whole, because a lot of people think that BMI is a copyright organization, but we're not. We're just a performing rights organization. So that's when you register your music at BMI, it just allows BMI to license that music for you on your behalf and track the airplay of those songs. But that's not the same as copyrighting your music. But it's really important to copyright your music 100% and protect your intellectual property. The way that you do that is you just go to the US Copyright Office website. It's through the government agency and it's just copyright.gov, I'm pretty sure. And I can link it in the chat too after this. And you go through the process that way. You can't copyright your music through BMI. You can just register your songs with us to make sure that when they're getting played, we're able to track the airplay of those songs and we know that they're out. So, but that's a good question.
Yes. And the next question I have is from Fedora. How do we follow up? Like, how often should we hit them up to stay connected? I guess this is in regards to networking.
I can answer that one real quick. Fedora, shout out to you, Global Doers in the building. Let's go. So how do we follow up and how often? You have to really also think about your follow-up strategy, not just the frequency, but like what you're trying to accomplish with the follow-up, right? So do you want to connect with this person because you eventually want to work for their company? Do you want to connect with this person because you want to collaborate with them as an artist? Like, what is your goal? That would be the first question you need to think about. And then your next, that would dictate your strategy. So if you, let's say, I'm going to use both examples. If you want to you want to work for a specific company, think about timeline. Let's say you're 16 years old. You have to be 18 years old or 19 years old to work there. I would check in maybe once a quarter, right? So like a quarter is broken down like 12, there's 12 months in a year. So January, February, March is first quarter, April, May, June is second quarter, so on and so forth, right? So maybe once a quarter, even twice a year. Like if there's that many years before you actually can get a job, and just say, hey, and easy ways you can do it. Doesn't always have to be an email. It doesn't always have to be a phone call. It could be like if they post something on LinkedIn about like what's going on in their life, just commenting, saying, hey, like, oh, that's awesome that I met you at this diversity event. It's great to see that you're still growing. Easy way to connect. Social media makes follow-up so easy. You can literally drop a comment and you're still relevant to someone. You can literally respond to a story. You can so that's what I would do, right? And then as far as like an artist and following up with the artist, it depends. Do you feel like, for example, like maybe meet a high profile artist at an NJ Pack event or something like that. And, maybe you feel like you're ready for that. Maybe you don't feel like you're ready for that yet. Maybe you want to get more followers. Maybe you want to get your music up. I don't know what it would be, but, just kind of do the same thing. Assess where you are with that. Follow up with them after the event so they remember you from that experience, and the probability of them answering is higher because they feel connected to you through that recent experience. But also just assess where you want that relationship to go. And then just casually connect with them. It could be LinkedIn. Another easy way is one thing that I do, and especially clients that I really care about, I'll remember birthdays. So, I can send them something for their birthday. Holiday season comes, Christmas, I send to big clients. I send them, some bottles for Christmas. I know you guys know, I'm I'm talking about water bottles. I know some of you guys are young, so we're talking about water bottles. I'm talking about Gatorade. But yeah, I'll send them some, some nice stuff. So just think about what your actual goal is, and then you can start to design your strategy for follow-up around that.
That's great. Basha, have you experienced anything like that where when you were starting out transitioning from like up and coming to like currently where you are, how did you start off with how many times you reached out to companies or a connection or anything?
So it really started off, it was like very spaced out because I was still doing my own thing, but I was just saying hi, like just being a normal person. I feel like it's weird to ask somebody what you want, like tell them like, oh, can you help me with this? Can you do that? And speaking of somebody who I've known for years, who actually got me into like modeling, just emailed me because I emailed her like 2 weeks ago, and like, she's dope. She got me into like being out there. She's like, you're a star. Everyone needs to see your face. You're so beautiful and your energy is so vibrant. I would love to have you on set. I'm pretty sure all these photographers in New York and like from here to Milan would love to have you on set. Your energy is phenomenal. And I was just like, okay. Like I was at one gig and she saw that and I was just like, okay. She was just like, keep in contact with me. I'm going to help you. And that's exactly what she did. So I feel like it wasn't, and even when I would follow up with her, she was like, I was in Australia and I was doing my own thing, right? I was working in Australia and I was like, teaching like hip hop workshops about like the history of hip hop and like really connecting people with that, like, culture. I was in the culture. I was like, yo, Jada Kiss is my dude. Like, all of these artists, Yasin Bey, like these are the artists that I was close. Erykah Badu, I was at sets, they were DJing. I was there. Talib Kweli, I was there in the same room and it was chill. So when I went to go do that, I wasn't expecting to be coming back to America and be modeling. I was focusing on hip hop. So I had a focus and just being consistent with those who actually saw something in me. So like, that's something that gave me the confidence to even come to NJPAC and be a teacher, because I went overseas and did it. And they were like, yo, she's like teaching me so much. She's giving me confidence and making me feel like I can be a hip hop artist or be a graffiti artist or be a breakdancer. This is a community. And so I understood how to communicate through hip hop. So it wasn't as something that just comes to people normally, because it's hard to like understand gauge the communication. But I would just say, please talk to people like they're people, not like you about to suck them dry. It's just not comfortable. Like nobody wants to feel like that. Like, and for instance, like we were in the, we were meeting everyone here. I had hit up, Joshua. I was like, hey, what's up? Like, let's link, let's vibe. Still didn't get back to my DM though. But the thing is, when you follow up with people, it's all about like connecting them to you and like what you're doing and seeing what they're doing and saying that, yo, you're doing something great. Like you're doing phenomenal work, and just starting that conversation, because you have something to offer just as much as they do, even if you're going to do internship work. Like, it doesn't matter. Like you're going to apply yourself. Maybe their other employee hasn't been doing that because they're comfortable. So whatever you bring to the table is something that you have to be confident in, and like, space it out. Don't keep hitting people up every day. Nobody wants to see that email in their inbox every day, because it seems like you're being like, like someone who is an opportunist. And it's great to have opportunity, right? But like, it's a difference between like seeing opportunity and making it something fit you and like making it be your thing versus like, yeah, I gotta do this. You don't even know what you want to do. You haven't even figured out what you want to do, but you're chasing up people for like your own benefit versus like, I'm here for you. What can I do to serve you? What can I do to serve you? How can I be here for you? That is what you need to lead with. Like, how can I help you? What do I need to do for you? Like, what do you have going on right now? How can I take some stuff off your shoulders? People love that. Be cool with people. Let's go out for lunch. Like, like, let's chill. Why has it got to be so like, so I'm trying to do this? Like, no, that's just don't do that.
Yeah. And I also recommend to, if you already have a connection, like if you had a previous boss that you worked with in the music industry, which I do, is like, I always will reach out and be like, hey, how you been? And stuff like that. I always follow up with, that's why I'm still cool with BMI till this day. I was an intern at 20 something, but I'm still friends with them now. So Joshua, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, Basha, I sent you my number, so don't try to come for me. But
on blast, put him on blast.
But yeah, totally agreed with what Basha was saying. Like, you really want to go into those interactions, figuring out how you can be of value to the person that you're engaging with, you know. And, you know, I've done it where I've been the person who was the annoying person sending too much. Then I finally learned the game of how often and ways that you can engage with people in a way that makes sense and is resourceful for them. But even for me, right, I have like thousands of students that DM me and like hit me up through socials. And, you know, and then there's a lot of people who hit me up. They're like, hey, let's do this. And I need this or I need that. And the ones that I usually do respond to, and Basha, I didn't see yours. So this is not coming to you. So I did not see
that
yours.
whole T-Pain thing. It got caught in the matrix somewhere on the Instagram.
Right. Oh, sorry. So yeah, there's a lot of students and a lot of people who reach out to me. Again, this is not to Basha, but like, you know, people will reach out to me and they'll be like, hey, like, you know, I need help with this or I need help with that. And sometimes I'll respond to that. But it's usually better when somebody's like, hey, like, I heard something that you want to do. I want to be able to be of value. You're right. So if you think of anybody, whether it's an influencer, you know, any person that you want to be able to engage with, just again, figure out how you can be resourceful to them so they can feel like, all right, why do I want to respond to this? And why would I need to fit this in the schedule? Because some people, as you start to connect with more and more people in the industry, it's not that they're hard to reach because they're trying to be Hollywood, even though some people are Hollywood for no reason. But like, you know, it's not that. It's sometimes that they have so much in their schedule and they have to realize, me responding to this person, is it going to help the greater goal of what I'm trying to accomplish or not? It really is that simple for some people in the industry. So if you put yourself on the side of, I'm going to reach out to this person, I'm going to make it very clear what my intention is so that we can be able to connect in an authentic way, it's going to help you. So I completely agree with Basha's point and being of value to the person you're reaching out to.
Yes, I love that.
And make sure you maximize when they hit you back. Like I really got a story for like almost all the times that I failed as an artist, like when it come up. Like I went to an open mic. I'm not sure if you was there, Danielle. Could have been long time ago. Went to open mic, artist by the name of Mims, who I feel like is a super dope artist. Like when he cut like down to the essence of what he do, super dope artist. Killed it at the open mic. He's like one of the headline artists. So and me, especially back then, super shy person. So I'm like, I gotta muster up all this energy in me just to go say hi. I speak to him. I'm like, yo, you was dope. I would love to work with you. I would love to work with you. He gave me his number. I calls him probably 2 days later. He like, send me something, send me anything, like, send me something, send me something. I'll jump on it, like, cause I performed that night too, and I mean, I hopefully he thought that I was dope enough to do the song. He said, send me something. I don't send him anything. I don't send him anything. 6 months later, I'm not sure if y'all remember the song. 6 months later, I hear the song. This is why I'm hot. This is
oh no.
In the world, biggest hip hop song. This is like 5 to 6 months after he just told me to send him something, and I never sent anything. It's like, so now I'm like, and it could be like that. Could be like the break that you don't miss your opportunities. Like that's don't miss out on your, and not like to be a leech or anything, but when you get an opportunity to work with somebody that you want to work with, take advantage of it, try to maximize it to the greatest of that you can do. But not sending something was that was crazy. And then he turned out to have the biggest, and not saying that I would have been a part of that, but you just never know.
Never know.
So make sure you take advantage of your opportunities when you can. Don't miss out on your opportunities, man. You don't want those regrets.
Yeah, and you'll be sick like Blake.
But I mean, we bounce back. We bounce back and we figure out, if you just, you your purpose though.
You find your lane
Find a
eventually.
way to bounce back though.
For real. I would definitely say though, even if you in that situation, say if you don't have no music, be real with the person you're talking to, because maybe they could hook you up with a producer, or like maybe they just want you to come to the studio. Like just be open. Like don't be like, okay, I gotta get this figured out. I gotta come all clean cut and to the point. No, like you may not even be like, you might just be part of the camp for a little while until they get their music out, and then maybe you gonna come up next in line to get your music out. A lot of people do that. A lot of camps do that. You got Junior Mafia, you know, you have Cash Money, all of these Young Money, all of these OVO, like they do this. You just come up there, be like, yo, I write. Like, what's up? Like, okay, let me hear something. Like, all right, let me just open my notebook or my notepad real quick and just be convincing. Sometimes you may not have it all right there. Even SZA, you know, SZA is from New Jersey, okay? Like, this girl literally opened up her garage band and was playing a play around clip, and they were like, oh, she's dope, we signing her. That was it, period. It was just like she was just messing around in her garage band. You know, just really don't try to come all figured out, because even some camps and some like managers and whoever the team is, they like an artist who's in development, because you're not going to come there like, oh, I know everything and I know what I'm doing. You're actually going to come there vulnerable, open as an artist to gain knowledge and also to become a better artist, because they want to groom you from head to toe as an artist. Just make sure you maintain who you are as an artist. You know what I mean? And as a person.
That's
That reminds me of a quote. It was like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like, just don't be afraid to come with something that needs work, or because, you know, we're all works in progress. It doesn't have to be completely clean, ironed out from the get-go. Like, it'll get there. You just have to have the courage to start. That's the first step.
Exactly. And that also reminds me of like Ari Lennox, who is on Dreamville. She started out, I think she was found on YouTube or something like that. And she was, you know, a hook singer for Dreamville for everybody on there. And now look at her. Let's wrap it up with this last question, who is from Vania. She is an alumni of NJPAC Arts Ed. Okay, so I would like to be a songwriter in the industry, but I like to write music that has an older feel. Do you think that older styles of music could be mainstream again?
Yes. Look at Future Nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Disco album. Bring it back. I love the vibes. I think definitely if you're looking to write older stuff, like music is cyclical that way. And I think people always draw inspiration from the past. And yes, Joshua, 100%. What goes around definitely comes around. Those songs are timeless. Like, it really just, if you write what you're feeling and it's authentic, like I feel like this whole conversation has just gone back to, yes, leave the door open. Like, those songs are, you know, they could be from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, you don't even know, but they're written in 2021. But I was gonna say, like, write what you feel and it could become a timeless hit. Like, it doesn't really matter what the time period is. I don't know if anybody else disagrees with that or wants to like put anything else out there, but yeah, Future Nostalgia is the bomb. I love that album.
These are all the records that have been sampled over and over and over and over and over
yes.
again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kate, 100%. You want to talk about briefly about the composition versus masters with I Will Always Love You?
Yes, yeah. So that's something that I always like. It's just kind of a music business 101, like basic knowledge that everybody should know, is the difference between the composition side of a copyright and the master side of a copyright. So when you write a song, there's the composition, which is, you think of it as the music and lyrics, whatever can fit on sheet music. And then that's one side of the copyright. Look at the other side, it's called the master. That's also known as the sound recording of a song. So for example, the song I Will Always Love You that was made famous by Whitney Houston when it came out in The Bodyguards, one of the most iconic songs of all time. Some people know this, but some people don't know this. Dolly Parton actually wrote that song. And she has full ownership of the composition. She wrote it by herself, which is rare nowadays. Nowadays, there's tons of collaborators, 15 people on a song, and you're splitting your shares like 5.55%. Dolly Parton owns 100% of the composition on I'll Always Love You. And fun fact, she also owns 100% of the publishing share. She didn't sell that song, she retains the publishing. So she owns 100% of the song I Will Always Love You. She owns the composition side. Whitney Houston, when she went into the studio and recorded that song and released it as a digital recording on CDs on, you know, when it came out. That is the master side. So Whitney and her label owned the master side of the recording. But when we think about BMI and where that fits in the music industry, every time that song was played, whether it was Whitney's version, whether it was Dolly's version, because Dolly went in and recorded a version, Dolly Parton, since she was the composer, she wrote the composition and owns 100% of that, BMI pays her the performance royalty. So it's really important to know too, just kind of like there's two sides. You're obviously, as a songwriter, as an artist, you're entitled to a couple different royalty streams. And music is kind of a weird business where there's a lot of things that overlap. Obviously, you're like, it's kind of hard. There's some gray areas between like sync versus the master sync versus the sync fee one time from a publisher versus like when your song is played in a commercial and you're eligible for performance royalties for that too. But I don't want to go too deep into the weeds, but essentially if you take one thing away from this, it's that there's two sides to a copyright that you can own. One is the composition, which is owned by the songwriters and the publishers, and the other is the master, which is owned by the artist and historically the record label. But nowadays it's so much easier to release music independently. So it doesn't always have to be owned by a label. You can retain your masters. And I think the conversation that artists are having right now on the importance, I think Blake touched on this before too, the importance of owning your masters and retaining those rights. I think that's a really important conversation to be pushed right now too. Everybody can the Taylor Swift Scooter Braun feud to like just get a glimpse at the importance of knowing before you're signing a contract what you're signing. So
you don't have to re-record it years later.
Yeah, then you have to re-release Fearless once again. So yeah, definitely just know what you're signing and know the difference between the different rights and royalties that you are entitled to. And BMI does a great workshop every month. Shameless plug. But
yeah, say it.
BMI does a great like 101 workshop every month. It's on Zoom. It used to be in person at the office, but we've transitioned it onto an online webinar format to make it more accessible for everybody when we're all at home who wants to learn a little bit more about the music industry and just get the basics of where we fit into the big picture and also the basics of performance royalties, because it's important to know your rights and know what you're entitled to as a songwriter. So yeah, I'll stop talking now, but that's the difference between the two.
Yes, thank you for that. And I do want to leave room for everyone to, you know, give like a quick take of what musicians or upcoming musicians can do, or any kind of resources, or even your websites. I'll let Blake take that away. Start those two resources that musicians could take away.
Two resources. One is and this is not even from a musician. Kevin Hart's book, I Can't Make This Up. For any creative, trust me. If you want to read in, this is a book. If you read it, listen to the audio book, trust me, it goes like from his story, from like pretty much like start to like where he is now. And you would be surprised to see the parallels between like all creatives. Like don't think that just because it's from a comedian that it can apply to a rapper, a singer, a songwriter, a model. Like it's very, very inspiring. And I would just say like follow things like United Master, Spotify for Artists. Like these platforms put out a lot of information on how to use they platforms and how to use they analytics to help you just push your content, push your music further. But don't get into the habit of just spending like hours and hours and hours on like YouTube and podcast. I'm guilty of it, but like you can get stuck in a rabbit hole and then you don't put no content out, and then it's like, you got to take the information that clicks with you and just keep trying things. You don't got to throw gum at the wall to see what sticks, but just start it. Just get started. You want to get started.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it really short and simple. Be as consistent in this algorithm as possible with social media. If you are an artist and you want to take your stuff seriously, apply pressure on social media. Very easy. So consistency, and if you produce quality content consistently, the algorithm will be your friend and it'll start to push you. The other thing is advertise. Pay to play. You're either going to pay to play or you're going to pay to stay. So some people pay to be able to get their music played and get their music heard for the first time. And some people are paying to keep people listening to their music, like Drake, like Beyonce. They are the most famous artists on the planet and they still market their music, right? So you're gonna have to pay. So if you are going into the music business, remember, it's not just about creating, it's about understanding the business and what I need to pay and where I need to invest in myself. You're investing in yourself to be able to take yourself to the next level. And then lastly, to just give a shout out to Katie and everybody else here, you know, PROs, very important. Track your money. Don't let don't let your money sit in a account where you can't have access to it. You have to understand one of the most important things to take away from this event is you are in the music business. You're not just in the music, you are in the music business. If you want to be able to pay your bills at the end of the day and have a life that's fulfilling and thriving, you have to understand that and be able to take these keys of networking and everything else we communicated to make yourself successful.
Yeah, I love that. Basha?
I'm sorry, I was typing a blank and I was just like, oh snap, it's my turn. So I definitely would say set a schedule. All right, so you got your Monday, what's going on in your analytics, like see when people are online. You got your Thursday and you got your Saturday, or you got your Tuesday, you got your Thursday, and you got your Sunday, whatever days, 3 times a week, if you even need to post that many, but make sure you do it on all platforms where you posting on all those days so that you don't got to keep coming back to the phone. Because I don't know about y'all, I'm an artist. I don't always want to be on social media. I want to make art. So I can't stay on the phone and social media for that long. Make your schedule. Monday, I'm posting a selfie. Thursday, I'm posting a video, right? And then Saturday, I'm posting a campaign or the biggest project I got going on because everybody's in the house and on the phone. So they all gonna keep what I'm doing. And they're gonna come back to that selfie on Monday. They're gonna come back to what I posted on Thursday. So make that schedule 3 days out of the week. It's the best consistency, and keep doing it every single week so that people could be like, okay, I see what they're doing and I'm here. Because regardless if they don't like what you're doing, if you're consistent with it and you keep posting a quote, a photo, food, whatever it is that you're gonna post, people are going to come back because you're on your own, like you're on your own algorithm, you're on your own thing, you're building a key following of people that will be paying for your services or looking for your actual art. So just be consistent with yourself, and then somebody gonna be like sharing your stuff, you know, go on TikTok, blow it up. TikTok is the place, I'm telling you. TikTok is the place to blow yourself up right now. And if you're not doing it, you're missing out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a thing called Canva if you want to really schedule certain posts. It's a great outlet. I use that a lot to promote this event. So it's very helpful. And you don't have to, you could be your own graphic design artist. You could get inspiration from something else and, you know, jazz it up to make it your own. Katie, what about your 2 takeaways?
I would definitely say I agree with Basha. Like, if you're a creator, I think social media can kind of suck you away from actually creating. So although it's really important to put yourself out there and make sure that you're like promoting your music, promoting your brand, definitely take time to create too. That's what we're in it for, I think, at the end of the day. And lean on your networks. This is really, I think I liked when Blake and Basha and Joshua said, you know, stay in touch with your people, kind of work across the board rather than just reaching out to be opportunistic. I think it's so important to find friends, find like-minded people, create with them, you know, like kind of build a little community within yourself and your friends who also like to create, whether they're photographers, other musicians, people who are trying to do graphic design. Like, I really do see a trend, especially this past year when people have been working kind of in little bubbles together, that the best art comes from when you're just having fun and creating with your friends. So remember why you got into it, remember why you loved music, whether you want to be behind the scenes or if you want to be an artist, and reach out when you need help or need resources. There's going to be people here who want to uplift you and help. So those are my takeaways. This was awesome. I feel like I learned a lot on this panel.
We have an attendee that says, do you guys have an IG? So please put your IGs in the chat. I can't channel like Josh's energy, like he's like, put the
put
your
the
IG in the chat.
W's in there.
I'll put mine in there too. So my takeaways are, if you have an idea, just start it. People will come. That's what this takeaway of having a creators room. It was an idea in my head for the longest from when I was helping my friends like Blake out and working in different music industry companies and being where I am now, working in performing arts. It really has been like a passion project. So I thank all of the panelists for being here. And I'm sorry we couldn't answer all of the questions. There's so many. This could be a part 2, honestly, because Joshua didn't even get into like YouTube and monetizing that. So definitely follow all of these lovely people. I'll put my information in here as well. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
We appreciate you so much.
Super dope.
Yeah.
What is your music's message? What is your why? Those two are the quotes that, you know, it's really gonna stick like that. You gotta, I want to just spread that to more artists. Like, what is your why? What is your message? What like Basha was saying, what's the story that, you know, what is your music connecting with? It gotta connect. It gotta have a message to it. Yeah. And of course, you know, Katie, all the publishing, your publishing is, hey, artists, trust me, that is what you want to take care of.
Exactly.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad all of you could be here, and it was like a brain, you know, all these ideas in my brain, and it came out and it ended up being 2 hours, and I appreciate everyone's patience. So thank you. Joshua, did you want to say something before we?
I was going to say, Danielle, you killed it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
You all are amazing and beautiful and full of so many gems. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. Phenomenal work.
Thank you. Same.
And it's again so many gems, and I hope everybody got to write that down. You will get the recording to this, hopefully. I will send it to the panelists too. So Joshua, I know you had a few students in here, so I'll send you that recording so you can send it to them. And have a great night, have a great week, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Katie. I emailed you, girl. So what's
I'll go check. I'm on it.